Okay. So we're back at it again. What did you what did you think of Sunday's broadcast? Did you get a chance to watch it back? Do you even watch them after we do them, or you just kind of forget about it?
I don't watch them all. I watch highlights of them.
Man. Well, at work I have plenty of time to like just listen to them in the background while I work, so I usually rewatch them and gain insights on conversations. See
In the
what been.
totality.
Yeah, I'll let them. Plus, it's better. It helps us in the algorithm to have somebody watch
Get
them all
my
the way through.
plays. Yeah, that makes sense. I just might do that.
Yeah, it's actually
Like,
it's really
have my
useful.
phone playing at work. Just let it play through. I won't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
get it. But yeah. I thought I thought it did not. There's this thing that happens where even when we were
You
talking about Paul, where I think we go down the path we're supposed to go down, but either we stop at step 2 of 12, or like we're not, or like we go into a different like tangent point. And I felt like both of those things happened last time, but I was glad that I don't know, although I didn't completely agree with AK's perspective, it was good to hear it.
Yeah, I
Um
liked having his input, but I think what you're describing always happening is you finding a way to derail the conversation. I can't even fully blame you this time though. It was really Malachi. Malachi derailed the entire podcast with one comment.
well, we all know his motive at all times.
Oh man.
Uh,
No, but yeah, I mean, I don't know.
so
I'm still kind of split on how to approach that. Do we lean into letting the conversation just go off to something that had nothing to do with it, or do we keep it centered so we can get to our points and get the message across, or get a complete idea out to give people something to think about? Um,
part of me wants to always try to keep it centered, or at least have a playbook. And if we have to audible slash go off script, go off script. But I feel as though we at least need to come in with a plan of action.
yeah, definitely. So I there. So okay. So a few things that happened after you left. Not even. I'm not going to tell you everything, but really quick. AK said he's going to try and be more regular. He's going to try and come in because he said he's off on Sundays. He's usually not doing anything when we're streaming, so he's going to try and come in
Interesting.
more. So that'll be good. A couple other things. Bro, this is really honestly this should be your job. I'm not gonna lie, but I found
Oh no,
I've been fishing for more. I don't want to call them victims, but more people to engage with
bro,
who
that is 1000% my job. You're so right. That is,
So I actually was watching this video. I couldn't even finish it. It was pretty bad. Not gonna lie, but it was basically two Christians talking to a third Christian who um, he's either an Arabic Christian or I don't know. I'll have to look more into what his background is, but he's their resident expert on Islam because he's Arab. He's got like a thick Arab accent, but he's been evangelizing or trying to evangelize. I think he's a pastor or something in America since 9/11, like since before 9/11. So he's been here doing Christian stuff for a long time. But he and honestly, it's hard for me to imagine that he is actually an ex-Muslim because of the arguments that he uses. It makes it very clear that he's not very familiar with the Quran or what the tafsir of like certain verses. He's like using, yeah, it's just like very typical Christian apologist stuff. But anyway, long story short, they were asking him like, how do we what do y'all call it? Minister to Muslims. How do we combat these arguments that they bring? And so he was like giving them really bad advice. Honestly, they're walking into, if they take his advice and talk to any knowledgeable Muslim, the Muslim's gonna put them on their behind, because yeah, it just anyway, before without getting all the way down there, because that's not the point of this. But I reached out to them, and I thought they would just ignore me, but they responded. But the way they responded is like, "Are you actually just responding like for your algorithm and actually ignoring me?" Because they was like, "Yes, just DM us," and I'm like, "This is YouTube. You can't DM. Like, what are you talking about?" um, but we'll see if they actually do follow through and want to set that up, I think that'll be a very eventful uh, exchange. Um, but anyway, so that's that. And I also have reached out to this guy I saw, Muslim guy he's a recent revert, white guy, American. And I just want to bring him on just to kind of chat with him and like hear
Yeah.
his
What
journey,
does the
like how did
revert
he.
mean? Forgive my
It's a
ignorance. I
it's
think
a
I know what
convert. Honestly, I don't personally even though I just used it, I don't like trying to make the distinction of like revert or convert or anything like that. Like it's like, like they say like everybody is, cuz the reason why I'm leaning
Yeah,
away
yeah,
from
yeah. I
revert
guess.
is that people continue to call them reverts like throughout their entire life. And I'm like, look, everyone who like all of the Sahaba, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Abu Bakr, everyone who followed Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was a quote unquote revert, but we don't call them reverts. We just call them Muslims. So why are we making a big deal about everyone else now turning to Islam? Like you're just a Muslim. That's what Muslim means. One who submits. You can't submit like without actually having the you know the cognitive decision to submit. So everyone at some point has to become a Muslim. You don't. Anyway, I don't want to have that whole conversation right now.
I hear you though.
But yeah, so I wanted to get him on, chat with him, see what his kind of let him talk about his journey a little bit, what his current experience has been, and all that other good stuff. So he reached back out to me. He said he would definitely be excited to come on and talk to us. He's got considerably more followers than us, but he said he's gonna be probably busy these next couple of weeks. So I'm gonna hit him back. I'm gonna let him know that I'm gonna hit him back in a couple of weeks and see what his schedule's looking like. So hopefully we can do that sooner rather than later. But yeah, so for today, there's a few videos that I've been wanting to check out with you, but one of them I'm saving for AK to also watch with us on Sunday if he
Oh,
comes back.
good.
Um, but I wanted to give you the option. So there's one guy in particular I want to show you the videos of, and then there's like other random stuff. So do you want to see a video from the guy that I've been sitting on? And if you do you want to watch one that I think will kind of get under your skin and annoy you, kind of make you butt heads with this guy and push back? Or do you want to watch one that I think you will strongly agree with? And, like all that stuff? Or do you just want to watch something that's like save all of that stuff for maybe a different day and then today just do kind of chill videos?
I kind of wanted to see the middle option, actually.
What's the one that's going to make you angry or the one that you're going to like?
Agree with. I'm curious to see what you think I would agree with.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, cool. Give me like probably like 90 seconds if you have anything you want to talk about while I'm getting this together. Or if you don't, I can continue to spitball.
Spitballing is better. Hold on, I'm actually
All right.
trying to pull something up so I can increase our viewership, but
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't even bother like putting my usual whole description on all that stuff. I'm gonna do all that later. I'm just gonna, just wanted to get this up. Okay, good. That's there. That's there. Video, perfect. Okay, that's going. Let's see how long this takes. All right, already at 20%. Good. Hey, how did you do that? Oh wait, I forgot your whatchamacallit. Okay. I'm almost ready. Okay. Looks like I'll be ready in about 60 more seconds. Look at this corny ninja.
What?
I'm talking about you in the comments. To whoever may see this, you are loved.
NANI?!
That's
Hey
not the
man,
one
I'm
I
just trying
want.
to drive interactions with my people.
A few moments later.
No, that ain't either. Not that one.
Hello there.
That one needs to be changed. Why haven't I changed that yet?
That could work when we get a new phone.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
That one's too quiet.
Oh.
No. I thought I had a different one. I got it. Okay, that's the one I'm gonna put there then. Okay. All right. Are we ready to go? Sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, where's this? Oh no. Oh no. Did I change that? Oh dear. No, that's not right. That's not right at all. Okay, I guess that's okay. All right then. Let me just put this up in here. I don't know why you still don't realize that I know you very well. Wait, where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, okay, there it goes. All right, so this just listen out. You're gonna have a lot of questions, but let's just hear it out and then hit me with any questions you got. Or if you want me to pause at any point, just let me know. All right.
You know, when people talk about a Patrice Lumumba or a Kwame Nkrumah, for example, or Thomas Sankara, or even Sukarno, they always say that they were ahead of their time.
What'd you say?
I just didn't think we were going here, so I'm just. I said, what are you doing?
I told you, man. I think you like this one.
But that's not true. They weren't ahead of their time. They were not revolutionary thinkers, if you know what I mean. They were just incredibly astute, mature, sensible men with a very crystal clear understanding about how things should be. There was nothing futuristic or utopian in their visions. They just understood and identified exactly what had been done to Africa and what was being done to Africa. And they understood exactly what liberation and what sovereignty required. You know, if they had been leaders in the West, no one would have called them revolutionary or even visionary. They just would have been regarded as logical, sound, rational, reasonable men who had an intricate understanding of economics and politics and basic fairness. I'm not saying this to slight them, not at all. I'm saying this to emphasize the heinous criminality of the Western power structure and how it has dealt with Africa. Because if you were a leader in Africa in the 1950s, the 1960s, the 70s, or the 80s, and you had a sound mind, a rational mind, you had an understanding of politics and economics, and you had an understanding of what's required for sovereignty and fairness, well, that made you a revolutionary, calling for, pursuing basic fairness and sovereignty and independence for an African leader, saying things and doing things and implementing policies that just made sense for your nation, constituted rebellion. No, they weren't ahead of their time. Time refused to advance.
Ooh.
Time was being held back, especially.
Do you want to say something?
It's just well said. It's just well said.
You're overall going to like this guy a lot. But there's going to be some things, of course, that are going to stick in your craw.
Especially in Africa. The West, Europe, the UK, and America refused to allow Africa to exist in the present day. Not just Africa, of course, all across the global South. But nowhere was this more the case than in Africa. You understand? I pointed out before, more than once. Relationships between countries, between continents evolve and develop and change over time. We've seen drastic changes in international relationships in just the last 20 years. In fact, we've seen drastic changes in just the last 4 or 5 years. You know, even the last 100 days, to be honest. But the West's relationship with Africa has remained essentially the same for 1,000 years. Subjugation and extraction, looting and pillage. So for Lumumba or Nkrumah, it was the 1960s, but for the West, it was still the 1860s, the 1760s, the 1660s. For the West, Africa was frozen in time, and they kept it frozen in time by force. They kept it frozen in time by violence, by assassination, by coups, by invasions, and by hostage governments and collaborators. They kept it frozen in time by predatory lending, by neoliberal policy coercion, by manufactured debt and abusive trade policies. You know, when they can't send soldiers, they send consultants. So no, those great leaders weren't ahead of their time. The West stopped time in Africa. And understand this, when you arrest the forward movement of a people, when you stop them in time like that, you're not just stealing their wealth, you're stealing their future. You're robbing them of possibility. You're burying generations that have not even been born yet under the rubble of your exploitation.
Wow.
Because what could have been created, what could have been discovered, what could have been achieved, it never gets a chance to exist.
Wow.
It hits, don't it?
The mind of Thomas Sankara, the determination of Patrice Lumumba, the vision of Nkrumah, these weren't anomalies. They're the normal, natural, healthy state of a decolonized mind, of a liberated mind coming from a liberated people. They're examples of what Africa would have been, should have been, and inshallah, bi'ithnillah, still will be. But the West systematically crushed the conditions necessary even for normalcy to flourish. You see, you don't just kill the leaders when you kill the leaders or when you overthrow the leaders. You steal the future that those leaders could build. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that when you kill one person unjustly, it's as if you killed all of mankind. Well, that isn't just metaphorically true. In the case of the leaders that the West has destroyed in Africa, they also destroyed millions of lives along with them. Millions of living and unborn lives have been destroyed in terms of their hopes, their opportunities, their rights, their freedom, their independence, their sovereignty. Well, you can trace the carnage going on right now in Congo today, all the way back to the assassination of Patrice Lumumba. They assassinate the idea. They assassinate the man who represents the idea so that future generations will look back and go, well, you know, they tried and they failed, so we better not bother. It's psychological warfare across time. Because if you can make a people believe that liberation is impossible, if you can make them believe that wanting sovereignty is naive and that dignity is an unrealistic hope, then you don't even have to conquer them anymore. They'll remain conquered inside themselves. And please understand, when we talk about people like Sankara, Nkrumah, Lumumba, Sukarno, we're actually just talking about the natural state of a decolonized mind. We're not talking about something extraordinary. We're talking about what's supposed to be normal, not exceptional, normal. They didn't have utopian visions for their countries. Like I said, they wanted their countries to be normal. But the West would not allow it. And back then, the West had the power to prevent it. The relative power, that's the key point. They had the relative power to prevent it. They had the relative power to steal Africa's future by prolonging its past by force. But as I've talked about many times, the West's relative power is receding. That old wolf still has fangs, but the global South is raising some young lions of their own today.
Now, before I continue, I would like to think you know where it's going. But before it gets there, I want you to just think for a second. What do you think, besides what the video is going to talk about, what do you think is is driving the shift of that power change? or the shift of the power balance? What's pushing the power to the global south?
I want to say it's the momentum of righteousness. And I know that this sounds very airy fairy, but I'm
It
hoping
does.
we're moving back towards like a level of equilibrium and how it should be, could be.
But as above, so below, right? So maybe that's what's happening in the ethers, but there's something physically changing here in the. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, if you wanted to look more physical, I'm thinking part of it is just the birth rate.
Exactly. This is what I was trying to get y'all to see yesterday. The power follows the people. If you don't have the people, you don't have the power. Because of the society that they created that needs someone to subjugate. Wherever the most people are, that's where the most power is. That's why China's been such a problem. That's why China is probably going to outpace America very soon. But also China's encountering what?
The effects of like not building up a middle class fast enough.
I was going to say the effects of bad decisions a few decades ago that have just been persisting, but they're about to run into their own population crisis. They're going to outpace the U.S. in the short term, but in the long term, they're going to fall to the global south as well. Because they're young people, our generation over there in China, they're not getting married. They're not having kids because they can't afford to.
Well, it's exacerbated by that. I think it lasted 20, maybe 40 years, somewhere in between there.
They were killing women. There weren't anybody to marry. Or killing girls, I should say.
Yeah. Well, not killing girls so much as not allowing girls to flourish. And
they did. They literally killed girls. Like they were only allowed to have one child per family. And so they didn't want girls because they didn't like the girl's not going to take care of me in my old age. I want a son who's going to work this land and be able to take care of me in my old age. So if they had a girl, she's gone.
Yeah, I guess that is the case. I didn't know. I thought the one child policy was you got one chance to get a boy. If you don't, hey, sorry, Charlie. I didn't realize they were like saying, well, you can try again. We'll just get rid of this.
They wasn't waiting to ask for permission. They're not going to say, oh, can I try again? No, it's like, well, I don't have a child anymore. What happened to the one you had? Don't ask questions. I still only got one child, but now it's a boy. But now there's no one for those boys to marry.
Yeah, exactly. And so 20 years of making the society so masculine, not even masculine, but just building up your army, you forgot about who rocks the cradle.
Exactly.
That's persisting, but do you think that would necessarily, it seems like that's an easy fix, no?
For who? For China?
For China.
How are they going to fix that?
Well, step one is I want to say a few years ago, they removed that one child policy. Not a few years ago. I want to say it's been some years now.
That's for the future. I'm talking about right now. Those people who are banking on their sons to take care of them, their sons have abandoned them in search of a wife.
Oh,
they're gone. They're like either leaving the country or going to other parts of the country to look for wives because there are none around them. There's no girls around. And so the birth rate is dropping. They're not having kids. So you can't just lift the ban. Okay, now you got more than one kid. I can't even find a wife to have kids with. On top of that, the economy is so bad I can hardly afford one.
I didn't know the economy was bad in China. Is that
well? It's not that the economy is quote unquote bad. It's just that kind of like what you see here in America, like. Even inside of a good economy, the cost of living is rising and rising and rising. It just becomes hard for more than one person to take care of themselves. Or for one person to take care of more than just themselves, I should say.
So they just released the Out of Reach report. It's this report done by this foundation in America. Every year it tells you, it's pretty amazing. We'll show it next in real time so that you can show it on the screen and we can play around with it. But basically it shows
how many times you have to multiply your salary before you can afford a house?
Yeah. How many? Well, basically, it's how much you would have to make per hour. How much you would have to make to to afford a 2-bedroom rental in that state. So
Yeah,
that's the first baseline. How much you would
yeah,
have to afford to form a rental,
it's
two
crazy.
apartment rental, and then I'm gonna tell you a few of those numbers. But then what gets more crazy is based on like the cost of living in that state, the average house for the average cost for a 2-person rental. It also gives you the amount of hours per week you'd have to working a minimum wage job to afford that house. And I'm laughing, but it's not funny because
It's not funny, but it's a
in
natural
some countries,
reaction.
huh?
I say it's not funny, but that's the natural reaction because your body's going into shock.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
shocking because it's like who's
yeah,
gonna work 100 hours a week just to live in a 2-bedroom apartment? And
right.
so, like, obviously, California. So the thing is exacerbated by the fact that the numbers are out of control. And just here, I'm just gonna tell you, California last year was $47.50 an hour for a 2-bedroom apartment. You need to make this year it's already up to $49 and something. So in a
Hmm.
year, the cost of living is increased $2. You might think it's just $2, but people ain't getting $2 raises every year. And this has been
Exactly.
just a slow train, just like derailing. And obviously, you need it's a lot of factors we'll talk about when we look at this report in detail. Hawaii's number 2, New York's like number 3. I want to say Georgia's like third. Georgia's like 15th or 14th. Surprisingly, Arizona is like 8th. Then you got like a Connecticut that is high because it's close to New York.
Massachusetts.
Yeah. And the other thing, and I'll move on past this subject so we can actually focus on it. The other thing that's crazy is, you know how I was saying in California, you need to make $49.59 per hour to afford a 2-bedroom rental.
Hmm.
Well, that's the average. If you live in Santa Monica,
Right.
those spots, it's like $90.
Hmm.
But the average brings it closer to 50, but because they got the other places in California. But it's just the pricing out of the middle class is just
It's like watching a car accident in slow motion.
in slow motion. It's been literally since we graduated high school. I've seen it, like, because we had the housing crisis, but that apparently it was going on before then. We just were too ignorant to know what was happening around us because we were watching
E-
Power Rangers and
even not even going back that far. Just go back to 2017 when we were 27 years old, and
what
just
happened?
look at the price of like
Oh.
like basic things like a chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A. It's like
Damn.
doubled or tripled almost
Yeah, McDonald's
just in that
ain't even
short
cheap
amount.
no more. That's why when you
You said
said I haven't eaten at McDonald's since whenever, in the back of my mind, I was like, hey,
2009.
McDonald's is just as that's the last time McDonald's was affordable. I'm serious, bro. A
I'm
Big
not
Mac and some
boycotting. I'm just
fries is
broke.
gonna cost you $12 now, $13. It used to
Oh
be like
man, that's
$10 for a
wild.
meal. I'm not joking.
That's wild.
I
That's
actually
that's why I like any fast food restaurant that I do patron. I always use those reward apps because like you have to just in order to get a little bit of your money back. Like you need those. They usually have good deals, and then on top of that, you get the points so that you can
at least get some of your money back.
yeah get some of your money back.
Got us
But not
hustling like our parents coupon shopping with these apps.
except it was actually paying off for them. They was feeding families of 5 off of basically like $200 a month. I can't even do $200 a week hardly.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Yeah, just wanted to quickly touch on that. The power follows the people. But let's get to. Do you want to take a guess at where we're going? We'll just watch it.
If
It's
you
okay.
back up like
They're
10
reviving the
What?
so I can like back up 10 seconds so I can ramp up and I'll raise my hand if I can see where it's going.
to steal Africa's future by prolonging its past by force. But as I've talked about many times, the West's relative power is receding. That old wolf still has fangs, but the global South is raising some young lions of their own today. They're reviving the spirit of Lumumba and Sankara and Nkrumah. Your grip on Africa is being pried open. And yes, of course, I'm talking about Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso and all the leaders in the Sahel.
What?
That's where I thought it was going, but I'm glad
Yeah,
they
man.
bring up my boy.
Yeah, check it out.
Alliance countries, obviously, but especially Ibrahim Traore. You know, it's often only in retrospect that we recognize the magnitude of a figure who shifts the course of history. It shifts the course of events in the world.
Bro,
But if anyone's paying attention, you can all see that Ibrahim Traore.
You're muted. I can't hear you.
This dude just unveiled the first fully electric made car made with only African parts.
Ibrahim?
Yeah, in Ivory Coast. They also just like they just put up like a random housing complex on Youth Day. The youth was doing community service around the whole country. Like everybody was out working on Youth Day in celebration because now he's giving them something to care about. Anyway, go ahead, let this finish. I mean, obviously he's not perfect because he still has nationalized a lot of stuff, and I don't think the government per se should control it because he could just be a despot or like there's space for manipulation, and I feel like it should go to the people eventually.
My thing is, even if of course there's levels to this, but even if he was a despot, that's his business. My biggest problem is the interference of these, like the West's audacity to just come in and say we're setting the rules of how you're going to run your country. That is mind blowing to me. Like they don't have that autonomy. When you have figures like, I mean, this video isn't about him, but Gaddafi, even as wild as he got, whenever he was trying to unify Africa, things like they just took him out. It's just like, okay, we can't have a unified Africa. That will ruin all of our plans. You got to go. And it was just like, it was done just like that. Everyone's cheering about Gaddafi being gone, except what happened to Libya now? Have you seen what Libya looks like now? It's run by gangs. It's crazy. They had stability and it's gone. They were one of the richest countries on earth and they're gone.
Hold on. Give me 1 minute.
Well, good thing no one's watching. I don't have to entertain anybody. We'll just cut this out in editing. Oh, he changed his name to Abu Nako. Look at you. Except that's a little bit off.
Yo, Matt, I got a mini emergency I need to handle. Just stand by, please.
Okay, standing by.
Go check on the kids for 2 minutes, please.
I'm good. Yeah, go ahead, do your thing.
All right.
If anybody pops in, I'll do a stirring rendition of "The Girl Is Mine." Let me see. What else do I have saved in here? Okay, you got that. You got that. Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's try that.
Diese Geschichte verloren gehen? Die Antwort war natürlich, dass sie nicht verloren ging. Sie wurde absichtlich ignoriert. Sie wurde absichtlich fallen gelassen.
What in the world?
Wir wollten nicht, dass ihr erfahrt, dass es diese blühende Zivilisation.
What? Oh no, I gotta find that again because that should not be in whatever language that is. Why is it not in English? It was in English when I watched it the first time. Let's see. What's the name of this one? History in Your Face. Okay, it's too far back. What's it called again? History in Your Face. The stories they didn't teach you in school. Maybe it wasn't on YouTube. No, oh, that is it. Perfect. Okay. Now, why was this playing in flipping French? That's my question. Okay, try this again. We're going to share and copy. Throw it in here. And put it down here. Okay. Jeez. Refresh. How about that? Control V. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay. Video. All right, let's see if that fixed it. Video file. Try again.
Thank you for your
Diese
patience.
Geschichte verloren gehen. Die
Oh, nope, same thing again. Okay. No problem. Hope everything is okay.
Is clearly one of the most consequential leaders, not just in Africa, not just in the Muslim world, but in the entire global South, and in fact, in the world.
Back
They were-
up just a little bit.
You know, it's often only in retrospect that we recognize the magnitude of a figure who shifts the course of history, shifts the course of events in the world. But if anyone's paying attention, you can all see that Ibrahim Traore is clearly one of the most consequential leaders, not just in Africa, not just in the Muslim world, but in the entire global South, and in fact, in the world. You know, I said on X the other day that Ibrahim Traore is the most important Muslim leader in the world today. More than Erdogan, more than MBS, more than anyone else, because of what he represents. You know, of course, I had a lot of fake Pan-Africanists in my comment section getting mad about the fact that I was referring to Ibrahim Traore as a Muslim leader, because they only want to identify him exclusively as a black leader or as exclusively as an African leader. They don't want to acknowledge.
You didn't know Ibrahim Traore was Muslim?
I didn't even know. I thought Burkina Faso was under the fist of the Francophone nations because I heard him speak French, which made me assume he was also under the cultural and religious doctrine of the French, which would have made him Christian. And I guess there are Muslims in France too.
I
But
say there's lots of Muslims in France.
quite interesting.
Yeah,
Of course,
Islam
of
is
course,
everywhere.
of course. I just
Islam is
assumed,
everywhere.
my assumption was that he would have followed the kind of like mainstream. But I mean, interesting.
His
That
name is
news to
Ibrahim.
me.
That's a little clue. Ibrahim
Okay.
is
I
like the
didn't think about
Islamic
that
way
until
of.
just now,
yeah.
bro. I'm
Yeah.
thinking my brain thought it was all French, and that was
No.
all like Catholic or like I'd never even but now that you said that, I'm like dun dun dun. Ooh-yee.
All right, let's check it out.
Acknowledge the fact that he is a Muslim, because in their CIA-produced Pan-Africanism, they're ready to exclude 500 million Africans from Africa. They're so propagandized in their mind by the CIA and by the intelligence that they think being African and being Muslim is a contradiction.
Bro, I don't know how. I guess it's been a while since I saw this. It was like one of the first ones I saw of his, but I do not remember him coming out swinging like that. That is wild.
Yeah, I didn't know those figures either myself. Did he say 500 million?
You say B or M?
I thought it was M as in monkey. He said B as in boy? Okay.
There's not even that many people in the world.
Right.
They've fallen for the old.
I was talking more about the fact that he's calling them brainwashed by the CIA. And I'm like, they are not ready for that conversation.
That part. But who do you think is they? The
Pan-Africanists that he's talking about in his comment section who don't want to associate black leaders in Africa with Islam.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget about that myself as a Pan-Africanist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even intentionally. So maybe the propaganda has worked of the CIA. Because, well, part of it is I've always, in this assumption until like I was around black Muslims, I always thought that Muslims en masse were Arabic and they didn't really fuck with black people. I think was like a subliminal propagandized reality. I mean, because anytime I go to a mosque, it's usually a melting pot of Arabs and blacks and everything else. But just from the outside, not being in the actual space, I don't know why, but I thought Arabs didn't fuck with black people.
I mean, that obviously you can't paint the entire culture with one brush either way. Like, I wouldn't feel any more comfortable saying that there are no racist Arabs than I would be saying that there are all racist Arabs. Like, all Arabs are racist. Racism exists in a lot of different places, and I'm sure there's but anyway, I mean, that's a whole conversation we can have. But the point I wanted to make very quickly was, before I forget, non-Arab Muslims outnumber Arab Muslims 4-1.
Who outnumbers who 4-1?
Non-Arab Muslims outnumber Arab Muslims 4-1. There are way more non-Arab Muslims than there are Arab Muslims.
That actually blows my mind too. 4-1?
Yeah, like 80% of Muslims are from outside of Arabia. They're non-Arab.
That's crazy. Well, does that mean that they're not Arabic? Like what about a Pakistani Canadian?
Pakistan is not part of Arabia. They're Persian, if you want to say anything.
What's considered Arabia then? Saudi Arabia,
yes,
Jordan,
anything on the Arabian Peninsula is Arabia. Yeah, the Levant is part of the Arabian Peninsula, I think. But I don't know if they're considered Arabian.
I think it might be a little more if you say just the Saudi Arabian Peninsula.
Yeah, so that would be like Yemen. Like, Egyptians are kind of a mixing pot of different cultures and races, but I don't even think they identify as Arab. Yeah, it's, of course, with anything, there's a lot of blurred lines, like Libya. It's an African country with a lot of Arab influence. Ethiopia, Somalia.
Yeah, and that's where things get muddied. Not muddied so much as there's that blur of cultures, people.
Yeah, but I mean that's the reality I live in anyways. Like, there's no straight lines anyway. Like, everything is blurred and faded from one to the other. I don't get the obsession with race in a lot of different people, not just white people, but black people and Asians, everything in between. There seems to be a lot more obsession with race than what makes sense to me. But anyway, let's continue.
Divide and rule tactics of the colonizers. Their indoctrinated brains will short circuit over the inconvenient fact that the most admired and the most heroic leaders in Africa today are Muslims. in Burkina Faso, in Niger, in Senegal, even Naledi Pandor in South Africa is a Muslim. Taking
You're muted.
Time out. I did not know that Niger has a revolutionary leader too, but I did not know he was Muslim either. Interesting.
We're everywhere.
Can you
man.
rewind it so I can hear that name of the South African leader he said? I want to see if I know that guy. I just didn't understand him.
in fact, that the most admired and the most heroic leaders in Africa today are Muslims. In Burkina Faso, in Niger, in Senegal, even Naledi Pandor in South Africa is a Muslim, taking the Israel to the ICJ. Just because Ibrahim Traore doesn't wear his religion on his sleeve, and just because he doesn't taqwa signal, all the time like some so-called Islamist, you think we don't get to claim him as part of our ummah? We don't get to say that he's a Muslim leader, but he is a Muslim leader. He's an African leader who's a Muslim. And I'm sorry to tell you, but again, the fact of the matter is that the best leaders you have in Africa today are the ones who are Muslims. You can get mad about it all you want. You can say, why does Shahid have to bring up religion? Why do you have to bring religion?
Matthew, how can I say this without saying this?
Uh-oh. Who did I piss
There's
off?
an undercurrent of viewers that think, I don't believe this, but they they think I'm being brainwashed and by you. And so they're gonna think this is a great piece of like bait and switch. But go ahead, I'm loving it.
Religion into it, but that's just a way of gaslighting about the fact that you don't want religion to be brought into it. You want to keep religion out of it. No, Ibrahim Traore is fighting those Western-backed, Western-trained, Western-funded jihadi groups because he's a Muslim. Nobody has suffered more from those mercenaries.
He's also been like, I want to say we're up to 13. It's probably more assassination attempts already. They've been trying to kill this man.
Yeah.
He's only been president for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then they're like, even that was like a military coup. It was a military coup and then another military coup. So things are already on edge. And they've
What was that he just said to Israel not too long ago? Or not really Israel, but specifically to Netanyahu?
Yeah. So you're talking about the report that went out against them, against Israel that he mentioned?
Yeah, he said something. He addressed Netanyahu like directly, although it wasn't face to face, but like he basically called him out for something. I forget what he said though.
I missed that too. Then I heard him mention Israel, the report that damns Israel, written by a South African, but I didn't hear him mention that.
I'll check and pull it up so we can see before the end of this. But yeah,
than the Muslims have suffered more from their violence and suffered more from the warped image of Islam that spread by their violence. Now, when Ibrahim Traore stands up to those French and Ukrainian-backed psychopaths, he's standing up for real Islamic values, whether you like it or not. From the perspective of Middle Nation, from my perspective, from the prism through which we analyze the struggle for justice and sovereignty and dignity, Ibrahim Traore's emergence is nothing short of historic. I mean, alhamdulillah, we have many great Muslim leaders in the world today, despite what everyone says. We have great leaders, many. But in my opinion, Ibrahim Traore is the most important. Burkina Faso, the land, they call it the land of upright people, has again produced an upright man, not only for their country, not only for the Ummah, but for all of humanity. First, they gave us Thomas Sankara, who was a Catholic, but his life was extinguished before he could ever reach the full, before he could realize his vision. But today, in Ibrahim Traore, we see that vision revived and
what was that?
I said I just can't let that slide by. I did not know Thomas Sankara was a Christian or Catholic, but it's just even more nefarious. Because they I want to say all they gave his wife of his body was his tooth. It's either him or Patrice Lumumba. I might be confusing the two revolutionaries. But past that, the fact, given the history of the world and where religion plays into that, to think that they murdered one of their own, per se, someone who followed the same religious doctrine as the West, and yet even that spiritual high ground wasn't enough to protect them. I mean, it's
because they don't actually follow. That's just ironically enough, it's a fig leaf.
Yeah, it's a fig leaf. I think it's more than a fig leaf. I think it's Manipulation.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. Like it's yeah. I mean, we know what it is. They claim it's about that the same way that these MAGA people claim it's about immigration. Right? We
Yeah.
know that's not true. It's never been that, which is another episode I want to have. I've been putting together a playlist so we can like
Oh, this is
just go through the comments and see what people actually think of us. Should be fun. If that don't get you wanting to pack your bags, I don't know what will.
yeah. You know, I'll save it. Let's keep moving.
Cool.
Before he could ever reach the full, before he could realize his vision. But today, in Ibrahim Traore, we see that vision revived and refined and aligned with the consciousness of Islam. We don't have any hesitation.
I said, Alhamdulillah, man. This is,
Alhamdulillah.
bro, I don't want to be that guy, but I've been praying for this day since I was about 18 years old.
What day is that?
Ever since I found out what happened to Marcus Garvey and the Black Star. And then at about 28, actually, was when I learned about Thomas Sankara and Patrice Lumumba. So I found out about them late. But they were echoes, and then somewhere in between there or before there, I learned about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. So there's this long line of like gone too soon before you can reach your potential. And so I've always prayed that, man, God, there has to be a leader who actually doesn't get snuffed out or extinguished before he's able to do something.
The thing about it is, like, from my perspective, that is, how do I say this? There's a verse in the Quran. Actually, let me pull it up so we can see it together, because I think this will kind of make my point better than I could. Wait, is that the right one? 3, 1, 4, 4, 4. Let's see. Okay, yep, this is actually, yep, this is it. All right, I'm gonna put this over here though. You still with us? Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
وما محمد إلا رسول قد خلت من قبله الرسل أفإن مات أو قتل انقلبتم على أعقابكم ومن ينقلب على عقبيه فلن يضر الله شيئا وسيجزي الله الشاكرين.
So
wait, this is a hadith, right?
no, this isn't ayah. When you hear it reciting like that, it's the Quran. So this is Allah speaking here. He says, Muhammad is no more than a messenger. Other messengers have gone before him. So if he were to die or to be killed, would you regress into disbelief? Those who do so will not harm Allah whatsoever, and Allah will reward those who are grateful. So
Wait. Is he saying if you regress into disbelief, it's no harm, no foul?
No, it says you won't harm Allah by doing that. You're only hurting yourself. Allah doesn't need you. You need Allah.
How is that relevant to an Allah will reward those who are grateful?
Those are the ones who aren't turning back. So this is like a draw a slash in between here. There's a dichotomy being
I just
created.
don't see disbelief and gratefulness as being linked.
We should have a whole discussion on that then, because it absolutely is. It absolutely is. In fact, when Satan promises, this is starting to go down tangent, but when Satan promises or declares to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he's going to misguide people, he says, you will find them to be ungrateful. That was his great promise, is that he was going to mislead mankind and that Allah would find mankind to be ungrateful. There's a huge relationship, a very direct relationship between gratitude and belief, and ingratitude and disbelief. Grateful people don't fall into disbelief. Yeah, we'll have to come back to that. But how this relates to Ibrahim Traore.
I have questions. It kind of like my spirit kind of already is like that's probably true, but I'd love to digest that a little more.
We definitely should.
Take the 28 minutes it'll probably take me to satisfactorily talk about it with you.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's crazy.
How this relates to Ibrahim Traore in my eyes is that it doesn't matter if he does get taken out. If you believe in his message, if you know that what he was doing was right, then the next man has to pick up the flag and continue, or the torch, and continue to carry it. You can't just like when Malcolm X died, like everyone was sad. They were like, we lost a prince. But how was the void filled? Did they continue to follow his vision, or did things just like the 24-hour news cycle? They just kind of forgot about it. And so we have to stop forgetting. We have to stop this collective amnesia that we're going through, that we have, and continue the work. It's not about one man. Like you were telling AK yesterday, we can't hero worship. What if he turns out to not be what we thought he was? What if he falls in the line of duty? We have to continue with or without him. He's supposed to be a spark, not the entire force.
Amen.
But yeah, let's continue.
Acknowledging Thomas Sankara. We're proud of anyone, regardless of their faith. Revived and refined.
What do you say?
This guy's getting good with the transitions, y'all.
And aligned with the consciousness of Islam. We don't have any hesitation acknowledging Thomas Sankara. We're proud of anyone, regardless of their faith, who stands for justice. You know, there were many leaders, heroic leaders in the global South, particularly in Latin America, who were inspired by the so-called liberation theology within the Catholic Church. Even if their own church hated them for it, we salute them. You know, even those with no faith, who genuinely struggle for the rights of their people, we salute them. It's a part of our faith, it's a part of our religion to appreciate those who genuinely stand for justice, even if we know that their vision is never going to be complete without Islam. So if you want to be proud of Ibrahim Traore because of just his skin color, go ahead. If you want to be proud of him because of his country or his continent of origin, go ahead. But we're proud of him because of his belief. He's our brother in belief. We're proud of him because of his faith. And anyone who wants to deny that or deny us that, well, you're just petty and foolish and ideologically shackled. Ibrahim Traore led a coup against a government that was subservient to its foreign masters. You know, there's been many, many coups across the continent, but usually those just replaced one neo-colonial agent with another, usually. But Ibrahim Traore is different. He's not just changing the government. He is uprooting the whole system of neo-colonial domination, and he's succeeding. He's understood what many people have failed to grasp, which is that independence is meaningless if you don't sever the control of the owners and controllers of global financialized capital. He's understood that security is a myth as long as it depends on the military patronage of your former colonizers. And he's understood that sovereignty is impossible under the shadow of Western tutelage. He's not merely a head of state. Ibrahim Traore is the revolutionary archetype of the 21st century. He was forged in the reality of Western-backed insurgency and Western economic warfare and propaganda. Because, today the fight for freedom is not just waged by armies anymore, but by narratives and by resource policies and by alliances and by collective sovereignty. Traore has made the choice to look towards Russia and Turkey and towards other new centers of power in the multipolar world. That's strategic, not because they're perfect allies, but because he recognizes the necessity of breaking the Western stranglehold on Burkina Faso. This is pragmatism in service to principle. This, again, is the methodology of Middle Nation. It's engagement without submission, cooperation without subjugation. It's trade-offs without selling out. He also understands, crucially, that Africa's liberation cannot be rented from outside. It has to be rooted in the reclamation of Africa's own wealth. His moves to exert control over Burkina.
Hold up, man, because I just look back at the screen and see your shades on, man. What are you?
Hey, man, something about this message has got me feeling real cool, bro. What can I say?
My goodness. All right. I'm gonna try not to judge.
Burkina Faso's goal,
So
building.
I don't know
What?
how people do these ring lights, bro. It's blinding me.
They usually have controls where you can control the brightness.
I guess I could.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh.
Take a load off.
Woo!
All right, you ready?
Yeah, bro.
We got about, honestly, I don't even know how much longer. That's 13 minutes. 1, 2, 3. We probably got another 4 or 5 minutes left.
Indigenous defense capacity.
This is
Huh?
kind of some stuff. It's like what I love about this. I don't know. I mean, probably because aside from the Islamic side that I was ignorant of, like this is what I've been trying to tell you and Rashard about this guy.
I mean, I knew
but
this
just
already. I
didn't
mean,
have the
we
words.
both probably know most of everything that's in this video already. This is an older video. This is like from when he first came on the scene. Ibrahim Traore.
A lot since then.
Yeah, he has. That's why I wanted to show the thing about Netanyahu. But I wanted you to get a feel for this guy because he's a wealth of information. I think we should check out quite a few of his
I actually
videos.
thought he was AI at the beginning. Not gonna lie, something about the backdrop, or I was like, "Is this?"
If he's AI, then I'm scared. I am afraid. All right, let's see if we can wrap this up.
And food sovereignty. These aren't just political decisions. These are acts of civilizational self-respect. It's a declaration that Africa's children will no longer be bled dry for the enrichment of Western imperial capital. We see Ibrahim Traore as a brother, not simply because of his faith, but also because of his fight. Because he embodies the spirit of the Quranic guidance to stand firmly for justice, even if it is against your own selves, even if it is against those who are in power, and even if it is against the odds. Burkina Faso isn't just a battleground today for the Burkinabe people. It's the front line in a global struggle for liberation. What Ibrahim Traore is doing is echoing in the Sahel, in Niger, in Mali, across Africa, across the Ummah, across the global south, and across the world. Every oppressed people around the world can now look to Burkina Faso and to Ibrahim Traore and say liberation looks like it's actually possible. But obviously, the global order trembles at the prospect that anyone is going to follow his example. They're afraid of his courage and his clarity and his defiance in the face of Western power and Western threats. And they should be afraid of that. They should tremble because they know the jig is up. But we know that when they get scared, they get dangerous. And Ibrahim Traore is under severe threat. There's already been something like 20 attempts on his life since coming to power. They just stopped the
We heard
coup
of 13
from happening last week, organized by the Americans and by the French, right there in the French embassy. Because a free Africa is just something that old wolf can't take. You know, they've been keeping Africa in the past for so long that they know that if they let Africa get away from them, then they're going to be the ones who are consigned to history. The chains that have been holding Africa down all this time are also the only things holding the West up. So now America has said that they want to arrest him. You know, they've already tried to take him out more than once, like I said. Now they're trying to smear him. They're trying to attack him. They sent the head of AFRICOM to the Ivory Coast a couple of days ago, which is a neighbor of Burkina Faso and which is known to have allegedly, anyway, participated in the killing of Thomas Sankara. Allegedly, they participated in the coups or helped to organize the coups against coup attempts against Ibrahim Traore. And the Western sycophantic leader that was overthrown by Ibrahim Traore is in exile in the Ivory Coast right now. So they're getting ready for something. Understand, Ibrahim Traore isn't just fighting insurgents and militants in the desert. No, every time he has to meet.
Please
Say it again.
could you just rewind about 20 seconds, please? Like I heard
Yeah.
something, but I need to make sure I heard what I think I heard.
To coup attempts against Ibrahim Traore, and the Western sycophantic leader that was overthrown by Ibrahim Traore is in exile in the Ivory Coast right now. So they're getting ready for something.
Pause.
Understand, Ibrahim Traore isn't just fighting insurgents.
So that's a critical point because what people don't know about when Patrice Malumba or Thomas Sankara, I get them mixed up, but the reason why one of them got murked, the one in Congo got murked, is because the leader of the Ivory Coast's president was like had his hand in it. They were like best friends and homeboys, and like they fought together in war. But then in the formation of this new independent state, he becomes like an underling, and then eventually he like goes into exile and is not paid off, but comes back with like US support because he does some corrupt shit. But excuse my French, he does some corrupt stuff, and then he comes back into power with the help of the French and the United States. And obviously they paint him as this democratically duly elected president, but he was a pawn of the US. And then eventually his people in the Ivory Coast eventually like saw him for what he is, and now he got kicked out of power in his own country because the Ivory Coast is trying to fix their own problems. But it's kind of like, imagine trying to fix the problems when the CIA runs your government. And so
That's
he's
Africa.
Yeah.
That's Africa.
Even from exile. And so the country is still very in the pocket of the United States to this day, to the point where like I did not know that the Ivory Coast was low-key complicit in the downfall of the Congo.
Yeah, that's like, honestly, I said that's Africa, but that's a lot more than just Africa. You know, there's like Afghanistan, Pakistan, like all these other countries, like all these other areas, South American countries, like the US, that's what the US does. Not just the US, but the Western powers, they just, like I said, they have this audacity that they just can control the world. No one else gets to run anything except them. And that's what drives me crazy about what's happening in Palestine and the UN, because the UN's been like laid bare and like shown that they have no teeth whatsoever, that it's literally like two countries in there that's in charge of everything.
It's embarrassing to the point where I hate to say it, and there's so many people I want to talk to because I refuse to hear the excuse of like, well, what can we do? We can do something. And I really feel as though there's a level of us losing our humanity because we're on our phones. Like, I feel embarrassed to even watch the videos and just like not do anything but watch the videos. Cause it's like, what are you doing? It's almost desensitizing me, and I don't want to be desensitized. I saw this.
That's why you got to stop watching. Like, you don't want to, number one, it's for their dignity's sake. And number two is for your own mental health.
That part. I saw this poor baby, and I'm like, beyond seeing him like that, it hurt my heart. But then it's like, I didn't even know he was starved to death, but he had a big belly because apparently something happens.
That's what happens.
Yeah. But I just didn't know that. And it's just seeing his hollow eye. It just, the dignity that I'm not even saying they lose their dignity with us looking at them so much as it's just like, I can't put it in words, but I feel so ashamed, too much to admit. And I just
Well,
like, why doesn't anyone else talk about it or care?
it's important. Number one, you at least are doing something about it. You're doing this. We're having this discussion. We're putting it out there. We're talking about solutions to not necessarily fix this one situation because we may not have figured that out yet. But the bigger picture of how to not allow this to happen again in the future.
And that's the problem is people don't realize it's Gaza today, it's Georgia tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I only chose
So
Georgia because it starts with a G like Gaza, and I love alliteration. So I'm not trying to say nothing or imply nothing.
does that count as alliteration when it's two different sounds?
Oh, what's up, Cuzzo? The topic of conversation today. What is the topic of conversation, Matt?
We're
Where
just
did we start?
reacting to some videos. This one is a video about Ibrahim Traore, kind of introducing Desmond to this guy here. He's got a YouTube channel with a lot of good stuff on it. But yeah, we're just listening to what he's got to say and then kind of letting the conversation flow naturally. But if you want to hop in and talk about anything, feel free to. Desmond, you can put the link in there, right?
Could you? I could. Because thanks for your comment at least and your interaction. Just want to say I haven't said it on your page, but your food videos here. Open your baby mouth. Here, come get this. Your food videos are you have your lane, bro. Stay in it and keep doing what you're doing. I love what you're doing. And yeah, I see some sponsorships in your future with some of these restaurants that you're going to. Keep up the good work, Cuzzo.
Yeah, throw
I'll
that
add
link in there for him in case anybody wants to join.
Yeah, I'm
And
gonna
I'll
add it
continue.
now.
And militants in the desert. No, every time he has to meet with some Western diplomat or politician or ambassador, he's fighting that same enemy. They're just wearing a suit and tie and meeting in some conference room or some embassy somewhere. But it's the same enemy that he's fighting in the desert. He doesn't have a meeting with any Western official except it's a kind of combat. Imagine. The same ones that are smiling at you or from across the table, those are the same ones who are also paying mercenaries to kill you. That's why there's going to be a continent-wide protest at the end of this month. I think it's on the 30th. And I really hope that we'll see activists fill the streets all around the world, not just in Africa. It's a demonstration in support of Ibrahim Traore, in support of Burkina Faso, and it's a protest against American and Western threats against him. And I really hope, wallahi, that we see massive numbers globally participating in this. Wallahi, I hope that even we'll see people of the Ivory Coast turn out for it. Listen, this is important. Burkina Faso is important. Ibrahim Traore is important for everyone, not just for Africans, not just for the Burkinabes. This isn't about...
What do you say?
This is definitely old. The the protest did happen. It was in Nigeria, London.
Yeah.
I want to say New York. It was all over the world. All over the world in solidarity with him because they knew that he had been the assassination attempts had went out. It was clear. And yeah, they did call for a national or worldwide protests, and it happened globally.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, this has been out for a while.
idolizing the man. It's about understanding the importance of what he represents. And what he represents is a paradigmatic shift that the whole world needs. You understand me? The OCGFC have been on a path of power consolidation for decades, accumulating more and more power in fewer and fewer hands, and leaving almost nothing beyond their control. We are in a struggle against this consolidation. Do you understand? It's a struggle for decentralization. That's the essence of it. That's what multipolarity is. It's decentralization. We need to pursue, protect, and preserve variance. They don't want there to be any options. They don't want there to be any divergence, any independence. But see, they built their power structure initially on the assumption that American power would last forever. Now they're understanding that they have to recalibrate. They need to transition. It's like they built one of those Jenga towers on a kitchen table, and now they have to relocate it. They have to move that tower all the way across town without it falling apart. Because now you have to move to the global south. It's a completely different terrain than what they're used to. So they're going to try to eliminate as many variables as they can to try to manage this transition so they come out on the top. Because they don't want their tower to fall apart. But if their tower falls apart, that is liberatory for everyone on this planet. Burkina Faso, as I say, represents decentralization. It represents variance. It represents a threat to the power consolidation. They see Ibrahim Traore as a glitch in their system, but their system is a virus on humanity. Burkina Faso represents not only the promise of African liberation, but liberation for all of us. And the instinct for liberation is not a bug in the human software, it's a feature. So everyone should do whatever they can, and we should all do all we can to try to defend and protect Ibrahim Traore. Because wallahi, this is a matter of self-defense. Ibrahim Traore isn't simply a political figure. He's a turning point.
You were 1000% correct. I completely agree with this young man's outlook. I guess I do see how we could be in agreement. I'm happy to see that. Thank you for tuning in, my brother. I know how you do. Stay focused, but thank you for listening in while you stay focused, whipping it in the kitchen. You're a great chef of all things. Anyway, but the biggest thing about the reality of that is Ibrahim and Burkina Faso is the most African in your face example, but there's a spectrum of it going on, and I'm glad that this exists. And not to change the subject, but just to add that Ghana is another country in Africa that's trying to do its part in uprooting and changing this capitalist order or the Western order. And
What do
how
you think about sorry to cut you off. What do you think about dang it, I don't know why I can never remember the name of this country.
Malta,
Starts with an S. Not Sierra Leone.
Zambia. That's
It starts with a Z. Oh my gosh.
Senegal.
Senegal. Senegal.
I don't know much about Senegal, but I know Akon was doing this $1 billion city using
That's
a
exactly what I'm
Chinese
talking
investment.
about. Yeah.
It just fell apart, actually. Well, it didn't fall apart.
I would
so
say
much
it's
as
not
been
it's not falling
stalled.
apart yet.
It's just
But
been stalled for 7 years. I think he's built 13 structures in 7 years.
Right.
And I want to say the Chinese government might be trying to recall the loan. But I don't know if this is rumor or not, but it just seemed like it's stalled. So I'm hoping.
Do you
that
know
things
what's
go
stalling
on.
it?
I don't know. I didn't look into it much. It just was when I
No
looked for an
people.
update on it, it just looked like
No people. People gotta go. My dad was over there for like a family trip,
in
like
Senegal.
with him. Yeah, because long story short, his wife and her
Time out.
brother.
We're live.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. I don't know. I'm just as your friend. I just wanted to make sure you remembered what we were doing and where we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my dad's wife and her brother took one of those African DNA tests, and they found out that their lineage goes back to Senegal, and so they went over there, and amongst a bunch of other things that they were doing, my dad and them sat down in this meeting with Akon. I think I still have the video of it somewhere around here.
How
I'm
long
not-
ago was this?
This was maybe a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, maybe.
Okay.
I think it was around the time Juju was born. So yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah. So anyway, they sit
Interesting.
down in this meeting with Akon with a bunch of other people too. A bunch of other
Akon
Muslims.
and Young Jeezy.
Yeah, and Akon is basically like, obviously he's not on his hands and knees begging, but if you know how to read between the lines, you understand he really wants, and not just wants for his own. He's like giving you, like it's like how I'd be begging you to just see the vision. It's right there. But he's like telling them about, what he's trying to build and the opportunities that are there for Black Americans if we would just come over.
Bro,
because
you told me that. News. That's great news to hear because I knew
So-
about the city and I was so disappointed when I found out why it stopped or stalled. I thought happened was China pulled it because they didn't see viability in it.
they
But now
may
I-
have they may be trying to run the clock out on him. Like they may be trying to do that. But he could. I mean, from what I understood, from what I saw in the video, if we come over there, if we bring all that power over there, then that changes the game completely. Like, because what he's trying to get us to see is that, number one, the same thing everyone's been saying for the longest time. There is no American dream for black people in America. Okay. It just does not exist. Number two, the very things that have kept us down, and by the very things, I'm not talking about the predatory practices. I'm talking about the infrastructure that we can't break through because, like, how are you going to start a power company in America when like 5 companies run all the power, or media companies when 3 companies run all the media, right? But that's wide
starting a
open.
restaurant when everything's franchised to
Sure, yeah.
McDonald's, Subway.
Very hard to beat those prices because they have all the connections already. They've got all the pipelines already wrapped up. They've got
Interesting.
deals in place to keep their to keep their business going and other business struggling. But in places like Senegal, it's wide open. There are no Carnegies, right? There are no Johnson and Johnsons. There's no Rockefellers. It
You
could be
know-
the Penniman family that everyone knows the name of. You just have to come over there and start it. You have to be the one to start building this infrastructure like they did in America however many years ago. But
Beyond time, bro. It's beyond time. And Derek, you'll get this story because you're right. We try to make it make sense. It's beyond time because even a little shit like the Royal Caribbean cruise, they just made a new rule because of black people being black people having a good time.
don't do that. Don't put that solely on black people. I've
It is
seen some
us.
videos and there was just black people in there. There was white people in there too. It's a nightclub in New York.
what
Of
they-
course there was a lot of black people.
That they're trying to outlaw because what the rules that they made is no fans and no speakers because we were leaving the nightclub and turning the deck into our own club where we were doing
Oh.
that ground song with it was Carnival. You're right, bro. Thank you in the comments.
I thought you was talking
that
about
road
the brawl. I didn't know you was
no,
talking
not
about
the
them
brawl.
partying afterwards.
No, I didn't hear about the brawl. You can tell me that, but essentially they have
It was
made
crazy.
a sanctioned outlaw for speakers and fans because it's boots on the ground song that our people do. We just having a good time. And my whole thing when I saw like the uproar and how Carnival's trying to like eliminate the fun essentially is my whole thought was like, bruh, why doesn't not Oprah, but why doesn't a wealthy black person or we as a community collectively get a Black Star started and get our own cruise line, choose our own destinations? And then we ain't got to worry about Carnival making rules that you can't have a fan or a boombox.
For the
Because we having a good time.
same reason, for the exact same reason that when black people got freed in slavery times, the first thing they did was turn around and buy slaves.
Oh, come on, bruh. If you're telling me the only reason we can't do this is because we might be as bad as our captors.
Not because we might be. I'm saying that is what the reason why they did that. The reason why black people got their freedom and then turned around and enslaved other people or bought people who were enslaved is because that was the status quo of how business operated back then. If you want to be a successful businessman, you bought land, you bought slaves, and you turned a profit. The same thing is going to apply in these situations. If a black person were to go and get a cruise ship, get the money together, they're going to follow the blueprints to have a successful business, which includes most of the time these types of regulations and rules that cut down on. I'm going to censor myself here because we're live, but you know what I mean. It cuts down on people having fun because you can't have too much fun because that's how stuff gets broke.
Less opportunity, unless they're not one of us. I would assume if it's a little more for us by us, they'll have more leniency on the stuff we do. Like,
No, until y'all break something, then they're like, nah. Because what are black people famous for saying? You can't take black folks nowhere.
I ain't gonna defend or deny that statement.
That's how it is.
Let's move on, because I think at the end of the day we agree that that's a viable solution is elsewhere. I'd be interested to look into Senegal because I haven't. I know my brother went there as a contractor to do some work, hanging out, not hanging out, but working, and it didn't look great, but it didn't look terrible either. So
You know,
but I
it's
don't know
actually
much
very
about it.
beautiful. It's a gorgeous country.
I'm sure it is. It's just the parts I saw from my brother's vantage point were like mid.
I guess, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Did you see that big statue of like the black family pointing out?
Nah.
It's pretty good. I can find pictures of it. My dad sent me a bunch. I don't know where all of it is, but he sent me pictures so I can
I think I've heard of it though.
search my cloud history. Real quick, let me show you one quick little short thing about Ibrahim Traore. Oh wait, this isn't short at all. Never mind. I'll just tell you. So I just found the video that was talking about what I was talking about before with the Netanyahu thing, and basically, not Netanyahu was making threats, and Ibrahim Traore like flat out replied to him and was like,
Please let me see it. Or is it too long? You said
it's like I mean, this particular video is like a 20-minute news recording.
yeah.
I'm sure I can just find the
25 more minutes to chow through. I got a hard stop.
Yeah, I'm ready to get off too. So I'm just gonna read you the important part.
Highlights. Yeah. So
basically,
what we're going over right now, bro, is basically so Ibrahim Traore is this leader in Burkina Faso, which is a country in Africa, and they've just been breaking the rules of colonialism. Because as you probably know, people think
I don't think he's there. Just FYI.
Well, he responded as of 3 minutes ago with a comment. So
7:48. Yeah, that was 3 minutes ago. But I'm looking at. I mean, he could be back, but our viewer says that there's no one on your Facebook. There's
oh, okay.
one YouTube viewer.
Oh, it might be
yeah.
me. That's probably me.
On YouTube.
Okay, well then I won't go there. Yeah, I won't go there then. Thank you for the saving me
Yeah.
the breath.
No worries. I mean, I could have let you talk to emptiness, but anyway, basically, he's like, Africa is no longer bowing to your threats, right? Like, if you want smoke, come get it, type stuff.
Ooh. That's what I hope he's doing next. Cause like,
Yeah.
like, yeah. I don't even want to talk about that right now. 'Cause
Yeah.
podcast is
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
But Ibrahim, I'm gonna keep
Ibrahim.
praying for you, brother. And that's a lot of smoke.
Yeah. 3 billion a
Believe
year's
that.
worth of smoke. But yeah, we can wrap up here. All I'm gonna say that kind of touches on a lot of things that we talked about today is if they can't tempt you with honey, they'll choose something less sweet.
Oof.
So let's all watch our backs out there. But at the same time, we're not bowing to no threats. So with that, I'm going to say peace, good night, or good day to y'all in Hawaii.
Yes, sir.
Desmond, any last words?
I do have some last words. I want to say thank you, Matthew, for your time and diligence in preparing an interesting clip for me to digest.
Absolutely. And I got plenty more of him, like plenty more. Obviously, all of it you don't have to watch live, but there's a couple I'll probably, like I said, I got one I want to show on Sunday with AK here. And that one's going to spark some dialogue for sure.
And with that, all I got to say is Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ooh.
You're getting there. But all right, to all my brothers and sisters across the world, I say assalamu alaikum. And for everyone else, may Allah guide you. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.